Super excited today. My guest is music artist Nate Rose. His music is amazing and definitely contributes greatly to the fact that
Joe Gates is overthinking out loud.
Fire.
I can hear it all the time. I can see it in my mind.
Nate
What's
Rose.
What's going on, brother?
Is Nate Rose your real name?
No,
Okay.
no. My real name is far less cool. It's like more of like a president's name.
Is it like
Nathaniel Brownfield.
Nathaniel Brownfield.
Right? So imagine like the hip hop album from Nathaniel Brown, like Nate Brownfield.
Yeah.
Just doesn't.
Nathaniel
know what I mean?
Brownfield.
Yeah.
If you were if you were going on tour to make political speeches,
Yeah.
that would definitely,
Dude, 100%, bro. He's
be
standing
the
on a
name.
podium.
Yes, that's definitely a podium name for sure. Man, I'm so happy to have you here today. Man, we met, God, I'd have to say 6 years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
At Home Studios in Nashville. It was a No Big Deal show. And I was like walking out or walking in, I think, and I had this really flashy Louis Vuitton jacket on. And I don't know why I remember this so clearly, but you were like, man, that jacket is dope. And that was the first thing you ever said. Of course I did.
Okay, let's go.
I wear it very rarely, and I'm not even kidding. It causes so much attention when I go out.
Bro, let me wear it for the show.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Oh, done, bro. Done. I'll bring it to you. That's a fact. Might even give it to you, but because my wife's like, I don't really like the attention you get when you're wearing that jacket, so keep it at home. But and then we just chopped it up and we got on each other's Instagrams, and that was just kind of it. Never really, chat. I'd send you a message now and then, like,
Yeah.
cute baby, or hey, this song's dope. And you'd be like, thank you. And then I needed some video work done. And I hit you up because I thought, man, you got some really great guys on your team, not knowing you are the team, right?
Me and David Pierce.
You and
Shout
David,
out my
man,
boy.
the genius that is
Yeah.
David, and that's just kind of how we know each other, man. So I want to ask you about you, man. The world. I don't know if we know a lot about you and where you're from and how this all started and what your life was like growing up and all of those good things, man. So, man, let's start there. Where were you born? Where were you born and raised?
So I was born about an hour south of Chicago in Bourbonnais, Kankakee area, so like a suburb. And then on my second birthday, my whole family moved to Tennessee. At the time, there was like a lot of really crazy violence happening in that area, and they just were like, yo, we got to get out of here. So second birthday, everybody moved to Tennessee, and then I basically just grew up in Cleveland, Tennessee.
Wow.
Yeah, so near Chattanooga, 423 baby.
Yeah.
We got some rappers out of the 423.
Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah.
You're the only one I know, but yeah.
Isaiah Rashad.
Okay.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
have no idea who that is. Sorry, Mr. Rashad.
All
Sorry,
right.
Mr. Rashad.
Cancel him.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So, grew up in East Tennessee, and at 15 years old, man, I found a passion for music. I'd been like performing for a lot of my life. I used to do dance. Like I used to dance in the talent show.
Yeah.
So that was like my thing. That was my first taste of performing. I started that in 5th grade.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I
You used to do that
I was
too?
doing the same thing.
There's a video of me on YouTube from my senior year, but it's very, very tucked.
Yeah. This is strange, but I was what was considered a breakdancing prodigy at like 6 and 7 years old. And my parents would take me around to all these breakdancing
snap.
contests. And I got a video of that.
I do a little breakdancing, but
Yeah.
I'm sure I was not a prodigy. I knew about 2 or 3 moves, pulled them out every time, the same moves.
Yeah.
I could do a windmill. I could do, I don't know, just some basic stuff.
Yeah.
I tried to do flares at one point, never really nailed them.
When you were doing talent shows as like a teen, what were you doing? Were you rapping? Were you...
No, just dance, bro.
Wow.
Just dance. So it started off like that. And then, yeah, 8th grade, I started drumming. And then I was in a band my freshman year in high school. And our front man had no charisma. And I was like, man, I'm going to learn how to scream. 'Cause I was in a metal band. So like, I'm just going to teach myself how to do it. Because I was used to being on stage and stuff. And then, so then I became the front guy. We got a drummer. And then the band fell apart because I was like really, really driven to try to make something happen. Like we had band members who weren't showing up to our.
They're like, bro, we're just trying to do this for fun, and you're like, no, we gotta get a record deal.
No, I was legit like, yo, we have a photo shoot. Where are you at? Like, you know what I mean? And so, but I think I was probably pretty pushy and stuff for a high schooler. You know what I'm saying? But I was serious. Like I kind of always try to do everything that I did to the fullest. Like even when I was young, I tried to start a skate team in 5th grade through 7th grade. It's called Insanity Skate Club. That's a middle school boy name.
You're
for something,
you're the kind of person that whatever it is you're doing, you're going to give it 1,000%.
Yeah,
nothing ever wrong with that. What was it? I guess what was like family life like for you? What was it like growing up? In your family, in your household?
I had it better than most, but my parents fought a lot.
Yeah.
Like I don't really have any real memories of them like sharing any kind of moment of affection.
Crazy.
Like an embrace or something.
Yeah.
So a lot of my parents fighting, they split when I was 15, but it was like, it seemed to be as long as I can remember. It was just like fighting. I will say though that they seemed to do the best that they could,
right?
Even in the midst of that, to like give us a good childhood. I grew up lower middle class, maybe lower middle class. And I honestly, man, like that was a time where I just spent like I was pretty autonomous and I was given some flexibility. So I mean, dude, I just would spend my days like all day outside with neighborhood kids skateboarding, and you know, I had more of that kind of like traditional, upbringing like that,
like where people played outside instead of sat on tablets.
Well, I used to skateboard, and like, dude, I had friends who skateboarded in the neighborhood, so I would just be like, yo, let's get up and just skate all day.
Let me get out of my house.
When do I got to be home, Mom? Okay, bet. Yeah. But I also think that was, partially probably in retrospect on account of just like not wanting to be around it. Yeah.
Around it. Did that reflect, did you have siblings?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Did that non-affection kind of reflect onto you guys, or was mom and dad, being affectionate towards the kids and just not each other?
My mom was definitely affectionate. My dad definitely had a rougher edge. Me and my dad had a turbulent relationship, but he's since passed. But reflecting on that, man, as I mature and age, I really start to see the context of like how life would have been for them.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot more empathy.
The whys.
Yeah, especially like if you're in a relationship that is just not working and two people are not feeding into it properly, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's all this like unresolved conflict that just mounts and mounts and mounts. I'm like, man, how much do you have left to give to your kids in that way?
Yeah.
And I don't think it was a situation where I was like, starved for love or affection, but my dad was like, kind of hard on me.
He was a man's man.
We butted heads a lot. Yeah. So I'm a pretty disagreeable person when it comes to like, I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
More like if I have an idea, like a creative idea, it's like I want to explore it. I want to do that. And when I'm kind of like anti-establishment in that sense, where it's like, yo, why can't I do this? That makes no sense. Like, yes, it hasn't been done that way, but but I think my dad, is also like that in some sense, and he's like, no, I know what's right and whatever. And so I feel like we kind of did that a lot, but no, I don't feel like I was like, I wouldn't say that I didn't have.
You felt loved growing up.
Yeah.
That's good, man. Yeah. Family life is hard, man. I mean, just the makeup of a family and I guess I've learned over the years, like watching friends and their families and other people's families, it's like, man, if you don't, and you've got a family now, you've got a kid and a wife and all that stuff, man, congrats on all of that. You turned your entire wedding into a music video. That was pretty cool. But
tax write-off.
Yeah, tax write-off. Definitely good on taxes. But the family dynamic is tough, man. Like nobody's got the perfect family, man. Everybody's family life has got its things, bro.
Yeah.
And I've learned, and I fail, but I've learned, man, if God isn't number one in my family, if I'm not letting that lead me and leading my family, it's like it just opens doors for demonic influence or evil or you know, those bad. To me, everything is spiritual, bro.
Yeah.
Everything's spiritual. I see everything in the spirit. And it just opens those doors. And like you said, it just compounds and compounds. And that's like the hard part, right? Like Nate's a working man. Nate's got to keep going, keep grinding, got to provide for his family. But at the same time, he's got to keep his family together.
Yeah.
He's got to make sure wife is happy. He's got to make sure the kid is good, which as men, man, sometimes that's a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like, holy crap, I've been working and working. I don't even, like, I need to pay attention to my child, or I haven't taken my wife out in like months, or whatever it is, man.
That part.
And I always tell people, like, our parents were the best parents that they knew how to be.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm the best parent that I know how to be.
Yeah.
And man, I make mistakes, bro. Like, you know, like you said, like I'm a very like critical thinker, overthink everything. Everything's got to be like this.
Yeah. Out loud.
And world does not everybody operates that way. Like I need you to do what I need you to do and want you to do right now, the way that I want you to do it, please.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, out of my 4 kids, one of them is giving me the business, bro.
Yeah.
And you know, your first one may, you know, give you the business in that regard.
Yeah.
But, so you went through your parents getting divorced, you're 15. I'm a deep talker, man. If I say anything, you're like, man, I really don't want to talk about that.
Brother, I'm an open book.
Open book, baby.
Open book.
How did that affect you as a 15-year-old? Or was it they fought so much you're like, thank God?
Yeah, I don't recall having a lot of like thoughts about it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a mixture. I think I didn't understand the ways in which it did affect me.
Yeah.
But again, I was very much in my own world. So at this time I was already trying to be a rapper, and like, and also being at 15, like I mean, I'm saying, like, I was waiting for the bell to ring so I could come home and record until I went to sleep.
Yeah.
And then I would spend my weekends going to neighboring cities to go to the mall to hand out business cards that I got printed at Staples to like get people to listen to my music at like 15, 16.
Yeah.
So like I was like pursuing a career, and I was skateboarding, I was doing all these things. So I think that stuff kept me distracted in a sense. I think for an adult, I think that would be bad to distract yourself from issues without confronting them head on. But I think that I was so caught up in my own world that it was kind of like almost therapeutic to a child in that way.
Yeah.
But to your point, I do think that there was a big sense of like the writing has been on the wall for a long time. Like, you know,
Not surprised.
Definitely a few memories that stuck in my head of places that my parents got to that I'd never seen before, that I was like, wow. Like, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome explanation, I guess, is what I mean there. As you're going through life, 15, 16, 17, 18, did you start to experiment with alcohol, drugs? I mean, did you fall into any aside from the family stuff, did you fall into any like, well, for 3 years I was out there being crazy and doing this, or, you know, did life get like bananas for you at any time?
Yes. Well, I mean, you know, drugs and alcohol, I feel like I've used pretty much in moderation. I've never had like a problem with it in that sense. I mean, you know, I didn't really like my
You're like,
mother.
man, I only do cocaine like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Right. Yeah. It's just a 3 time a week thing. That's not even half the week,
days
bro.
in the week, brother.
Yeah. No, No, my mom, when she was, you know, like she kept like kind of she let me do a lot.
Yeah.
Like she allowed me to just
Experience life.
Her concern, I think, was that I would go off to college, and if she kept too tight of a leash, that I would go nuts.
Yeah.
And so because of that, though, like, I mean, I used to be able to just like, she'd be like, I'm out of town, and I was like, yo, can I have a house party and do like a whiteout black light
him.
party? You know what I'm saying?
You were that guy.
Right. And so she would allow me to do stuff like that. So, you know, I remember there was a time when I was 16. And I was like, my next door neighbors were in a band, and it was New Year's. And I was like, yo, Ma, like, can I go over there and like have a drink? And it took her back because she was like it made her uncomfortable. But then she talked with my soon-to-be stepdad at that time. And she was like, what 16-year-old asks their parents if they can go next door to have a drink?
Right.
And so anyway, but there was that. I mean, you know, definitely smoke some weed and stuff like that. But no like serious drug problems. I think my real darkest times, though, it all kind of related to girls and lack of
Self-control, maybe.
well, it was more like I had no status. Like I had this vision of who I could be, and I was so far from it that I was just like gritting my teeth through the hardest, most, you know, I mean, I don't know. When I reflect on it, man, there was a period of like 2-3 years of my life where it was just like, it was like a pit.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
You know what I'm saying?
Was that in college?
Yeah.
And what was that? Describe that time.
Well, it started like out of my senior year in high school. I had a relationship, and it ended in a pretty crazy way. And so I brought a lot of that into my next relationship in college. And then that relationship was a 2-year relationship, and the problem was that we were both really damaged people.
Yeah.
And I brought a ton of baggage into that. And so we had this very toxic, dependent, like thing going on. And it just blew up. I mean, I take like full accountability
it can make
over
people crazy, man. Love 100%. People crazy.
Yeah, 100%. So went through that, and then there were a few other things, but I mean, it was at a time, bro, I was so broke, I was selling CDs to get lunch. Like, I was staying outside the student union, and I had physical CDs at the time, and I would do pay what you want. And so I would just, everybody who walked in, hey, would you want to, you know, buy a CD, whatever.
Yeah.
Boom. Oh, okay. I'll give you $5 for a bet. All right. I got my lunch for the day. You know what I'm saying? So like, I had no money. I had no status. I had,
know who you were.
I had real poor sleep. I was having, you know, real issues in family. My roommates were nuts at home. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like a compilation of stressors to the point that I was like, oh yeah, you have like nothing going on here except for your music career. Yeah. And so I basically made my music career kind of like my idol. Yeah. In that sense. And it's like everything else was a backseat, and I had such a tight grip and control over my music career, because I was like, what I felt like at that time is that was the one thing that no one could take from me. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Because from childhood, it had always been your go-to thing when you needed to get out of your house, when you need to get away. Yeah. It was your escape.
Yeah.
know?
And when the world's falling around, at least I can just grind and feel like my career's moving.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can, all right, cool. Like let me just work on these next songs, and then just go to Nashville and sell CDs to a line, and you know what I'm saying? And like guerrilla market to people. Like that's the type of stuff I was doing. I'll go freestyle. I'll go do different things like that.
Little freestyling kid on the corner.
Dude. Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah. That's cool, man. You had mentioned, did you graduate college?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. What did you graduate with?
Music business degree.
Sweet.
Yeah. Bachelor of Science.
Yeah. Man, I'm curious. You had mentioned, and I can relate to this as well. I've been through it. You'd mentioned that your father passed away. Mm-hmm. How old were you when your dad passed away?
This was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. And how old was Pops?
56.
Young. Mm-hmm. Bro, 8 years older than I am right now.
Yeah.
Can you go into detail on what was going on there and kind of how that affected you?
It's cancer, you know. He'd always had some health issues were genetic, and they, you know, I think he always anticipated they would catch up to him. But he had like a series of things going on that he had to get surgery for, and then I think some kind of complication in there led to cancer. And man, cancer is brutal, bro.
It's brutal.
It's you know, one of those things where it's like there's good and bad in going that way. Like on one hand, I was able to process over a longer period of time and
what was happening.
Yeah, and be able to like get the things off my chest that I wanted to, right?
Yeah.
Because you know, a car accident, it's like the last conversation I had with him was da da da.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, you got to watch a man just like wither into nothing.
Yeah. That's got to be tough.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I had to carry him to his deathbed. You know what I'm saying? Physically,
Crazy,
like, you know what I'm saying? So, and take him to his meetings and you know, I mean, he at the end, I mean, he had, you know, colostomy bags and it's just, you know,
just
I had to
fully take care of Pops.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And
so,
he was in Cleveland when this was going on?
No, he was in Columbia, Tennessee.
Columbia, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Living alone out there. So I also gave him my car. I had so me and my wife have a shared car.
Yeah.
So I gave him my car because his truck was having problems and
you were taking care of Dad.
Yeah, I was trying to be there, man. You know, my song "Dirty Laundry" on the project kind of outlines the whole arc of this, which is like, man, I'm very grateful that despite our difficult relationship, my walk with God kind of led me to a place where, you know, he was a big antagonist in my life for a long time, and I think because of that, though, I thought about him a lot. And as I matured, I started to see the real fact is, man, like there's so many people that just can't get out of their own way. No. They have too many layers of things they're unwilling to face. And then you see that manifest in their behavior. Yeah. And I started that part gave me a lot of empathy because I'm like, I would see ways in which I'm like, oh, he's so like this. He can't even see. Like it's just like it's like this. You know what I mean?
The inability to look in the mirror and and say this is a problem with me and I need to fix it.
Yeah. And so but because of, you know, the trajectory I was on in my journey, I was able to like gain that empathy. You know, the opposite is like I maintained that grudge and I you know, held on to that, and maybe I got to a point where like I didn't even visit him. You know what I'm saying? You know, I've got family members who are like, multiple family members actually that are just like, I haven't seen my dad in 40 years, and one of them is like, and I was like, I didn't go to his funeral. You know, and so I wouldn't have wanted.
You didn't want none of that.
I didn't, but it was a blessing that I was at that place of maturity where I felt like that. So then I was able to say the things I felt like I needed to say to feel like that, you know, could at least my side of it was absolved.
Was that you cleaned your side of the street?
A little bit, a little bit.
Was that like a bedside? Like I'm sitting down, like Dad, I got to talk to you about some things.
It was before the bedside, but it was at a point where it was like, there's, you know, nothing that can be done. Yeah. And so I was like, well, this is my moment to, you know, just, and what I really try to do, man, honestly, is like, just give him credit for the things that
he did the best he could.
Yeah. I was giving him credit for the things that he did. You know, my whole life has been like, like me just, I don't know, feeling like being at odds and being at war with him. And I was like, well, look, man, like you instilled in me hard work, and you know,
if he wasn't who he was, you wouldn't be who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I try to give him credit for all that stuff. Yeah.
I remember the last conversation I had with my pops, man. And it wasn't like my dad's on the deathbed and I need to say these things. It just happened to be the last conversation that I had with my dad.
So you're in the other camp.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I lost my parents a week apart. My dad died, and 1 week later my mom died. Like, it was crazy, right? Wow. But and I went crazy for a little bit over that. But the last things I said to my dad was like, Dad, I'm really happy right now. I'm really happy with my life right now, Dad. Like, everything's good. you know? And, I found out later, when I went to my dad's funeral, and you know how we have to like stand up by the coffin and everybody comes up and shakes your hand and says, I'm so sorry. All that. But, all these people I didn't know that I'd never met in my life, were telling me when they would walk up, like, man, I just got to let you know that I think the happiest I ever saw your dad is when he found out that you were getting married. And it makes me laugh because, I mean, bro, I wasn't the type to settle down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And,
I feel it.
And my dad would talk to me a lot about that. Like I was out there, bro. I was out there, quality, but I was out there. Hey, I wasn't there with just any old booger wolf, scallywag, out there. But that really bothered Pops, man. Yeah. Like I was like that. Cause my dad, you know, devout Catholic family, my dad had been with one woman his whole life, my mother. So these guys were coming up to me. He was like, your dad was so proud you got married and everything. I don't know. It just kind of made me think about that. But you know, my dad, you know, you said your dad was like kind of rough and tough. Like my Pops was, he was a sweet man. He was kind of a softie. Right. And so that made me who I am. And then I had to kind of man myself up. Right. And I think it was your dad that kind of instilled that work ethic in you, man, because had it not been crazy at home and you weren't diving yourself into your music the way that you did, and then saw what that produced. And then you just started doing that in everything that you put your hands on, man, which is,
the fondest memories I have of my dad were him being involved with me in sports. I think a big disconnect was that when I got into music, it seemed like he
was like, what are you doing, bro?
But what's crazy is I think looking back at all this is a realization I had this year. I think that all of his advice was from a place of trying to protect me from heartache. Because he was a guitar player. Wow. He was in a band. He always wanted to be a touring musician.
Like, I got this from you, bro.
Well, but he unfortunately was never able to actualize any of those dreams. And I think that he had all these dreams that he didn't follow, and so or wasn't able to follow because of circumstances or whatever. And I think for him, a lot of seeing me try to be a rapper, which is an insane thing, right? Like, oh, I'm going to be a full-time rapper. Like, yeah, right, bro. Yeah. You and every other kid in America.
Yeah.
And so, I even have a lot of like sympathy for that now. But the sports thing was like, he would take me to like private basketball lessons, and like we would do
with my son.
We would do workouts. Like probably my favorite memory is he got me these, favorite sports memories. Like he got me these, strength training shoes that like the front of them had like this big.
You had those?
Bro, I had those. And we had a hill in my yard, and I remember, or not in my yard, at the end of my street, it was like a big hill. And I remember, you know, me and him down there, like he was just putting me through a workout. And
I
like,
didn't think they made those in your generation. I just saw something on TikTok about them the other day, and I was laughing. Because I wanted them as a kid.
Yeah, it ripped my calves up for sure. But yeah, we were training on that hill, and it was like, I don't know. I felt like he was very proud of me because I was like grinding and stuff. But
I wanted to be a baller.
Speaking of the wedding too, my dad watched my wedding from an iPad from his bed.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and unfortunately, he never got to see the birth of my son. But
bro, I feel you on that.
Yeah.
I got two that my parents never saw, and that's a weird feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I would have loved to have had 30-year-old conversations where I say like, okay, now I'm a parent. Now talk to me from the perspective that you had. You know what I'm saying? Bro. Because I think I would have understood his plight a lot more.
That's like, I think one of the toughest things for me in not having pops or parents in general. One, you know, it's like I look at my baby girl and look at my younger son and be like, man, you guys never knew him. Mm-hmm. And two, hey, Dad, man, look, I'm doing that, blah, blah, blah. What do you think I should do?
Yeah.
Well, son, blah, 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 blah. Don't have that anymore. And bro, I'm talking 8 years later, there's times where I'm like, I go to call my pops.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I feel that, man. I really do feel that. Now, here we are now, man. Thank you for sharing all that personal stuff, bro.
Of course.
Great stuff. You have I once referred to you as the Jordan Peterson of hip hop.
Hey, I'll take it, man.
Did I say it to you, or did I say it to somebody else?
I don't think you said that to me, but I'm a big JP fan, so
yeah.
Turn
I was
me
like,
up.
you're like or maybe David said that to me, and then I said it to somebody else. But anyway, I agreed with it, or I felt it, because if you listen to your music and or some of the podcasts that you're on, and like, you know, I saw you were on Ruslan, or Ruslan was on your
Ruslan's
show.
podcast. No, I was on his. Yeah.
Okay. And you know, I'm a fan of his show. You know, you're a deep thinker, man. You know, I probably took you off track a little bit. Like, hey, let's dig deep into your personal life.
No, let's do it.
But and you're doing music. A lot of your associations in the music world are Christian artists, right? Like if you see Nate Rose, you're probably going to see a Christian artist within 10 or 15 feet of him if he's, you know, shooting a video or this or that, but you're not like considered a Christian hip hop artist. You're a real dude. Your latest album is kind of what just, what I said to you, it's one of the greatest bodies of musical work I've ever heard in my life, in 48 years of life. Halfway through your new album, Ultra Marathon, one thing hit me. I was literally driving Case and my son to basketball training. And I literally, in my head, I was like, man, this is like a brand new version of AT Aliens. Outcast AT Aliens.
That is very, yeah. I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and
They're gonna flame it on the internet, but we'll take it.
That body of work from Outkast, it just went so many different places.
I love Outkast,
musically,
dude.
and it was the first album where they came out and said, "We're going to try something different," right? And so musically, like, I almost feel like you could have just been going doodly doo over your songs, and I probably would have been just as enthralled in it because the music was crazy. So shout out to your producers.
Oh yeah, that's insane.
Whoever they are. But the flip side of that is just the way you rode the music with your rapping, singing, and your cadences were crazy. And so I'm saying all that to say, like, I can tell, like, something's going on with you spiritually. Like, I can tell something new is going on with you emotionally. And I can tell that without even really knowing you, right? You can hear it in that body of work. You can hear you, like, questioning, self-questioning, the world questioning, your spiritual walk. And you say, like, I mean, would you consider yourself like a newly profound Christian, like just recently accepted Christ? Like, is that a safe statement?
I would say that.
So what were we doing before that? Just kind of floating around? Were we like totally worshiping Satan? Like, you know, were we into Buddha? Like, what were we doing?
Yeah, I grew up in church, small town church, and you know, I was a Christian when I was young, and then after, you know, 12, 13, it was just like, I straight up just didn't think about religion for like over a decade.
Or God.
No, I was just like,
I like to say spirituality.
Yeah.
Religion to me is like this man-made thing.
Yeah,
but spirituality.
Honestly, I didn't even. Yeah. I think that I kind of just. It was just like, I literally didn't even think about it. I was just in.
Thought about you.
Music career mode. Yeah, exactly. And then, I think around 25, 26, I, you know, started to reach a place where my answer for not thinking about those things a lot of time was like, oh, so I'm going to be the one that finally figures it out. like all these debates have been happening for thousands of years. Yeah. I'm the one that finally gets it. But then, right.
Like, you don't have to figure it out, bro.
That was being agnostic and right.
Yeah, you ain't gotta figure it out.
But then I was like, well, though, if I'm going to have kids in the future and I'm going like what kind of man would I be to not know what I believe? Yeah. Right. Like the avoidance of that is like, it's a intellectually lazy.
Yeah. And so it's a surefire way to raise a kid with purple hair and a septum nose.
Yeah. There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So,
facts. And so basically I got to, I was like, okay, where do I start? I started reading comparative religion books. I got really heavy into philosophy.
Okay.
And so
are we talking like stoicism or
I read some books on stoicism. Yeah. I read Problems of Philosophy by Bertrand Russell. I started studying Aristotle and Plato and Socrates and then touched on some Thomas Aquinas, and then I got into idealist philosophy, Schopenhauer, Bernardo Kastrup. He's like more contemporary. And I mean, I was hitting all over, I can name a ton of names. And I was just trying to like get a grasp on like what really smart people thought about these things. And yeah, what I didn't want to do was be like, all right, cool. Like I'm American culture. There's Christianity. That's like our go-to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I'm like, I didn't want to just be like, okay, cool. Like,
you're like, I got to know.
I didn't want to jump into it and not feel like it was authentic. I was like, I need to survey the landscape and do this the way that I would do it.
I think people sometimes, bro, like you can overthink spirituality. Mm-hmm. And I think what destroys a lot of people from having a true intimate relationship with Christ, like you and Christ, Nate and Christ, is the having to dig so deep to figure out the whys or this or where did this come from or how or what. And I tell people like, man, just pause all that for a second. I'm not saying don't dig. I'm not saying don't read. I'm not saying don't get different opinions. But when it comes to you, like when it comes to me, having a true experience with Christ, man, that can't, like, obviously the word of God can help you get there. But more than anything, man, it's like, for me, my opinion, it's talking to God. Mm-hmm. Like, God, reveal yourself to me. Mm-hmm. God, show me you. Christ, show me you. Mm-hmm. Show me how to see you.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times we go, well, man, if I can't see it, I'm not going to believe in it.
Yeah.
Well, you're seeing it. You just don't even know you're seeing it.
Take some mushrooms.
Right? Like, take some mushrooms, okay? Yeah. Take some DMT. You're going to see Jesus, a couple angels, maybe an elf.
Or, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But I look at it like this. Like, I'm sitting here with you, bro. I see God right here. You are a reflection of God, brother. Like, you're a reflection of Christ in the way you live, and the way you're a father, and the way you're a husband, in your music, how you conduct yourself in business, the way that you speak, talk, carry yourself. Like, man, this is how we see God. Like, you just have to look for it. Like, and the same can be with the opposite. You see somebody that's like
100%.
On some other stuff, like their spirit ain't right. Maybe they got a demon. Maybe they don't believe in God at all. You can smell that out. You can sniff that out, bro. So, yeah, I mean, it's all part of the journey. And you're a deep thinker. Like, you got to dig. But I think with your digging and your deep thinking, obviously it's not surprising. Cammie, welcome to the show.
What's up, buddy?
It's not surprising that you're going to find the right answer, which is a true relationship with Christ. So as you're doing all this reading, as you're doing all this digging, like, what are you coming to as this is happening? Or what are you questioning? What is the end of the thing for you?
I think you're absolutely right that a relationship with God is not primarily an intellectual pursuit.
Yeah.
I look at somebody like my grandmother who is devout Christian, and I asked her point blank last time I was with her if she feared death, and she said no.
Nope.
She said nope. When it's my time, it's my time.
Yeah.
But like with extreme confidence. And then the other thing is I've never heard her say a bad word about anyone. She never complains about any kind of pain.
Grandmothers, bro.
She's a service. And the thing is, though, she would, I'd start talking to her about all this philosophy stuff, and she would just be like, "That's great, honey." Like, you know what I'm saying? But it's like I want what she has. She has a warmth about her, Yeah. And so I agree with what you're saying. I think for me, it wouldn't have been sufficient in my starting from the place that I started at to not have touched that. I couldn't. I had a barrier to get to the more simple, profound relationship type stuff.
Yeah,
I had to be like, is this even plausible? So the things that made it plausible for me, number one was psychedelics.
Are you kidding me now?
Not number one, but like this is in the midst. I wanted to understand consciousness. Yeah,
Nate's dropping psychedelics. Okay, this is getting interesting, Trent. Trent, it's getting interesting. All right, go forth.
Well, I had always thought of psychedelics as like stuff that, hippies do and like to have a trippy experience. And then a lot of the people that I was watching, Jordan Peterson, Sam Harris, Lex Friedman, Joe Rogan, Bernardo Kastrup, Christoph Koch, like all these people that I respected intellectually and respected as like people, they've all done psychedelics and like,
you're like, I'm jumping in.
No, but from the perspective, so I started looking into it, but there's so much like there's a crazy mystery around it. It makes no sense. It's actually preposterous that a mushroom that grows out of, bovine feces.
Look, I've been clean and sober for 23 years, but I've done more psychedelics than probably one human being should.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's like, that's a preposterous thing. They're like, all right, the mushroom just naturally grows out of this thing and you eat it. And then your base level conscious experience that people experience just gets blown out of proportion. Okay. So that was a humbling experience. I won't jump to any conclusions other than it suspended my disbelief in all things spiritual on the basis of realizing that our consciousness is so limited, like naturally.
Yeah.
Like what we are capable of experiencing is so far beyond. And so, so it did that. And then I was like, okay. Yeah, now I can, yeah, go ahead.
You started at psychedelics.
Mm-hmm.
It just talk to me about that moment. That experience. I know you are now a youth leader and these things and that thing. You might not want to like go too deep into it,
dude.
But you're an open book.
Stuff.
Like that experience, what happened that catapulted the rest of it going forward? Or
it wasn't. I don't have any crazy experience. I mean, I have a bunch of things that I could talk about that are additional insights, but the main takeaway though is just that I didn't like. The way I would describe it is like this. I felt. You know how there's like a difference between, we have words for these, right? But there's a difference between like being frustrated or annoyed.
Yeah.
Like they're very similar.
Yeah.
But they're like, they have a different quality to them.
Yeah.
Like if you're frustrated or annoyed or, there's all kinds of different subcategories of emotion. We have to put placeholder words for things. Well, when I was on psychedelics, I was feeling emotions like hope and joy and wisdom and things, but they weren't of the same character. Like everything had an uncanniness to it, almost as if like how I would imagine a baby is coming into the world.
Yeah.
Where baby was just in a womb in liquid, being fed through a tube, like, what I'm saying, like not hearing anything above, 2,000 hertz or whatever. I mean, maybe less than that. Like, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Everything is everything
was separated.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
More
hope
like
was hope.
More like
joy was joy.
More like our conscious experience, like our average conscious experience is this.
Yeah. And
most people, there's a realm that you can get to and all of this, but then psychedelics just kind of blew that up and was like, hey, yo, like, don't get it twisted. There's way more to your. So anyway, I was feeling all of these different feelings,
bro, this makes me want to go another hour.
Yeah. It just put me, it humbled me. Like it humbled me. It was like, oh, like the thing, basically I got to the place where like, oh, we know nothing about the nature of existence and the nature of consciousness. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, cool. So if that's the case, then everything's on the table. Right. And so that was a catalyst. And then again, I was on this journey already, so it wasn't like a singular moment that turned me towards anything. It was more just like I was exploring consciousness and these philosophical part of the journey. But it was a big part of like suspending my disbelief in the spiritual.
And you're like, and so now because of that, I eat shrooms every morning when I get up.
Yeah, it's a regimen.
My baby's face melts off when I'm holding it, but whatever.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
But I would, no, you're fine. I would say the other thing that pushed me to Christianity specifically was over the course of, my exploration. If I were to give you, there were three things that I kind of came to in my own wisdom that I was like, these are indisputable, like facts of I would just like my deepest pieces of wisdom. Which one was that I couldn't get around the fact that delayed gratification is like, that seems to be like some kind of universal principle of existence that is like, if your immediate desire, the closer your desire is to your immediate self, takes over, there's no way for you to become wealthy and have stability if every time you get money you spend it on something that could instantly gratify you.
Yeah.
There's no way to not, gain weight and go crazy if taste is your driver, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, that principle, right? And then I look at Christianity, and that principle is like, yeah, what if eternity is your time scale and your time horizon? What if every action you make is for eternity in mind? Like, you know what I'm saying? And like basically the idea, I'm not doing a great job of explaining this, but the idea is that like that has been there the whole time. And then the second thing was ego dissolution. So I'm like, all right, I'm convinced from a metaphysical perspective that ego dissolution is like, I can't get around that being the thing.
You're going to have to explain ego dissolution.
Spiritual.
I know what ego is. I have no idea what dissolution means.
Dissolving.
Okay.
So like
dissolving your ego.
Yeah. So I basically
dying to self.
Dying to self.
Okay.
Exactly. Right.
You're just using big like words here.
Yeah.
Nate.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like I couldn't get around the fact that the spiritual insight is only gained through ego dissolution. Like you can't be
it's crazy, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like just, and that made so much sense to me. And then I'm like, oh, that's like the whole Bible.
That's it.
That's like, right. And so then I'm like, okay. So that's number 2. And then number 3 was, if I were to give you my best piece of advice from marriage, it would still be that if both people are willing to subvert their own desires in favor of the union, then what happens is you have something that it builds something that's greater than the sum of its parts. And so you guys help. It's a feedback loop of improving each other and creating a unity that supersedes 2 individual people. Watering the flower. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I read a Tim Keller book on marriage and like from the Christian perspective. And it was like, that was like the first thing. So after 3 things where it's like, yeah, in my 30 years of wisdom, these are the things that I've come to the conclusion that these are, I can't get around them. And it's like, yeah, dude, bro, that's been in a book that's 2,000 years old. All of this has been here. Yeah. So that made me think like that kind of pushed me to this place of humility where I was like, well, if those 3 things are just themes that are just in there, what are all the other things that I am not privy to, or that might take me another 10 years on my own to come to the conclusion? You definitely touched on the main ones, man. I think you literally said like why people split up or why mom and dad split up, or because that was not happening, right? Yeah. I'm not, and I literally was just telling Trent, man, before you got here, like I'm not a good example of like, I'm not like a marriage guy, right? I wasn't either, bro. I'm in marriage, still trying to figure it out. Yeah. My problem is I'm so selfish, I'm so self-centered, and I'm so full of ego still, right? The best part of that is I know it, and I'm willing to look at myself in the mirror and go, bro, like, when's it gonna break? When's it gonna break? Like, when is? And look, man, if you called me and said, bro, I'm in trouble, I need this, I'd be there in 5 seconds. I'll help anybody. You know what I'm saying? I'll do anything for anybody, bro. But
whatever I think about most during the day is my God for the day. And I think about myself a lot, bro.
Yeah.
I think about myself a lot. And am I waking up in the morning going, what can I do for my wife today? I'll tell you right now, Nate, I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Yep.
So it's everything that you just said.
I relate to that picture a lot. Sorry not to cut you off.
No, please.
But I feel like last year was the most, but before I professed Christianity, last year I feel like I was the most, 2024. I felt like I was the most spiritually connected. So I would have felt like nothing can shake me. You know, I was like, I felt strength and I felt joy and all this. And then I was put in multiple situations that tested me in ways that showed me that all that stuff is still there. So it was like God being like, bro, like, relax. This is in you. You didn't solve this. You have just been, one way I like to describe it, I've heard people use these examples before, but like, you don't get to claim moral virtue for not cheating on your wife if it's from a lack of opportunity.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't get to be like, I don't cheat on my wife.
Yeah.
Where you get to say, I don't cheat on my wife.
Nobody wants to sleep with you, brother. That's why you're not cheating on your wife.
If you're out of
town. Have you looked at yourself lately? You're deathly ugly. No.
If you're out of town at a bar and a woman you find attractive comes up and like tempts you, that's where the metal is tested. You don't just a lack of challenge doesn't confer any moral virtue. And so I was basically getting a dose of that. And then this whole year, man, I was floored by, in 2025, I was floored by AI, and the past like 7-8 months, man, have been just total soul searching. And so I actually, it's so ironic because I felt like I was the most egoless in 2024. In 2026 today, I feel like I have more ego than I thought I did, which I think actually is an improvement on my ego, which is...
Well, okay. You're saying, excuse me, the recognition of knowing that you had more ego than you thought you did is the improvement part. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, okay. I mean, I wrestle with this idea of like Christians finding themselves the lowest. I'm like, you know, because in some sense, I'm like, if you're really connected to God, then you are more egoless, and so you feel that you have the sense of joy, you have the lack of or not the lack of fear, but the courage, like the metal, like you have all these things. And I'm like, why is it that the most spiritually connected people, make themselves the lowest, or they have true humility where they're like, no, like I'm no better than anyone else.
And we know people like that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's because
I know multi-millionaires that think like that.
At the core of that is like, when you commit to Christianity and you have to hold yourself to the standard that the Bible calls you to, you start to find all the pieces of yourself that you start to see how deep the floors go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where you're
crazy,
like, dog, I can't fix that. That is, how do I even approach fixing jealousy in myself? Yeah. I'm not even, I'm at Holy Smoke. I'm watching some of my closest friends on stage killing it in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
I'm backstage.
A big crowd.
I'm as in the loop with them as I can be in terms of like close circle. And I'm happy for them and I want them to have that. And I still feel a sense of like, I could be doing that. And now I feel right.
I don't know why it won't stop. Right. I hate it, bro.
But how do you even, okay, where's that feeling coming from? And it's like, how do I even tactically approach fixing that? And that is where it's like, you need an intervention from a divine source.
Yeah, bro.
And so you got to pray over that. You know what I mean?
It's one of my biggest struggles, bro. Like, not now so much because I'm so locked into the life that I have now, outside of music and entertainment. But, I mean, okay, we're on episode 6 of my podcast. Mm-hmm. Okay. We haven't even released it yet.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at like Joe Rogan, bro. Like, God, that's what I want, man. Like,
yeah.
You know, and in my
Yeah.
mind, or even with my friends, that's the toughest part, dog. I'm glad you brought that up. And we're going to wrap it up because
let's do it.
we did go over, but man, I should have booked out an hour and a half with us if I knew.
Hey, man, I'll come back, bro.
Yeah, you got to come
You
back.
got me anytime you want.
But we both have very successful music industry friends. I would consider you one of my very successful music industry friends. You may not look at yourself that way, but you are. But you know, we got friends with Grammys, bro. We got, you know, we got friends that sell out stadiums, like, you know, and it's like, man, I would get jealous and then I would hate that jealousy. What I was good at though was not showing it to them.
Yeah.
I was being excited, but then was I being fake? If I was cheering them on, I don't know. It's crazy. We could go and go and go and go and go. One last question, man.
Hit me.
And I'm just thinking of it off the top of my head. When people look at Nate Rose, what do you want them to see, bro?
I think I aspire to be a warm presence and somebody who, like, you know, there's a handful of people that I've met that total stranger, but I just sensed something in them that challenged me without, I mean, they didn't critique me. It was just the light that they had inside of them.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, I was a server at Outback, and there was 2 instances that I remember that of people that I had at my table that were like, that had that. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it in you know, somebody like John Lennox embodies that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm like, man, I want whatever that is so that I can be a better purveyor of the faith. You know, I think that there's a lot of people that are really hurting. There's, you know, we're stuck inside our own heads with our own ego, with our own life experiences and our own mental models of how the world works. And yeah, man, I aspire to be somebody who can totally submit to God's will and have the humility to just become the type of person that can just affect people like that no matter where I'm at. That's what I hope for.
Great answer, brother. Man, dude, I kind of knew how this was going to go today. But it went better than how I thought it was going to go.
Turn up.
I knew it was going to go good, but I think you're a deep thinker like myself, and I've learned so much about you today. And you've surprised me with some of your answers, and I think that you are embarking on a path that you never imagined in your entire life that you would be on. And I don't think, I think that things are going to happen to you in your life within the next few years that you never saw coming. Great things from directions you weren't even looking. And I'm excited to see where your life takes you, and excited to hear more music. And yeah, if for those that want to know, this is Nate Rose. He is a very dope music artist. Check out his music. Nate, what's your Instagram?
At Nate Rose Music on all socials.
At Nate Rose Music on all socials.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, check him out, man. Thank you so much for coming on,
sir.
brother.
Yes,
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Let's do it again.
I can hear it all the time. I can see it in my mind.
When you're nervous, I know you. When you're nervous, I know you.